Good afternoon, friends. This is on. Good afternoon, friends. Uh, it has been a good time speaking to you. Just hold. Is this on? Is this on? Okay, great. So all set to go in this lovely afternoon. What we are going to do today is look into one of the very prime subjects of marketing and one of the very important determinant which we will look into products, services and brands. And you know these days how much important is brand building. And when I say brand building, it has to do when companies exist today, right from the earlier one who had survived 100 years, 200 years, it's all about building brands. So entire discussion in the first half of our lecture will be addressing on what is the difference between a product or brand, or it could be a service. Now, if you have known or understood the marketplace scenario, especially the Indian market, if you see today 70% of our GDP, I repeat, 70% of our GDP is service-based industry. Now, that means there is a huge shift that's happening based on the kind of revenue that is being built up as far as GDP is concerned. Now, when I say service-based industry, it also means that we have lots of things coming up as well. That means it started with around early 90s, say, wherein it started off with BPOs or KPOs for that matter. But service has not only touched those areas of call processing or knowledge processing industries, but with the opening of retail segment, of banking segment, with the opening of areas of housing segment as well. Lot of things has evolved in the service industry as well. And when we say 70% of GDP means it's a huge chunk. That means in today's first hour or so, we will try to understand product, brand, and also services as well, and how that is important in building up any organization. So the topic outline as the model that we usually go, the topic that would we cover is what is the product, 2, the products and services decisions, branding strategy, that is building strong brands. So we will also look into how brands need to be built as well. That means how stronger brands are built, because you and me know that any organization is built on brand. So what kind of strategies need to be developed so that stronger brands are built? And a brand need not necessarily has to be a product. This need to be very clearly understood, because a brand could be a company as well. Brand could be a service as well. For example, let me give you an example to substantiate this. Take Sony for that matter. Now, Sony manufactures lots of things, right from Walkman days to a lot of DVDs to televisions to plasma TVs, lots of it. But Sony has built a brand of the company itself. Now that's about branding the company. It could be the branding of services as well. For example, take Meru or Just Dial. Now these are service oriented. Just by the service we get to know. Now when we say of Meru, obviously the kind of transportation service that it offers to commuters in any metropolitan city. Or when you say of Just Dial, the platform wherein you get a common platform wherein lots of contact and addresses are being addressed to. Or take online portals of Snapdeal, Flipkart, Amazon. Now these creates platform of services. They don't create a product by themselves. They create a platform or an online market model where a customer just buys it on the click of a button. So they're creating a marketplace, a virtual marketplace, isn't it? So they're not creating any product for themselves. They're just creating a platform where people goes on to sell and purchase the product as well. So look into what kind of strategies we need to build up for this model. We also look into how services-based companies market their product or should market their product for efficiency output of it. So we'll go one by one. So first, what is the product? Now, product right from our childhood, we have known this, isn't it? We always were interested, oh, what's the product? Let me tell you, friends, that in the last decade or so, the concept of product itself has revolutionized big time. When I say big time, it means that product, the concept itself has kind of hit an epitome wherein lots of things have changed. So we'll understand this product one by one. Now, by classical marketing definition, if you see, product is anything that can be offered in a market for attention, acquisition, use, or consumption that might satisfy a customer needs or wants. So very clear-cut defined definition as per marketing standards. So one thing has to be, there are two parts of this definition. One, it is to be offered to a market for attention, acquisition, or use. One. The second part is how it's going to meet either the demand or the need of the customer is what the product is all about. Now, a product doesn't go in isolation as far as marketing standards are concerned. Now, product always has to be juxtaposed or attached along with experiences. And experiences, according to market definition, represents what buying the product or service will do for the customer. Now, experience is different from the product as we all know, because product claims to give so many things, isn't it? And before going to buy a product, any customer has expectations about it. Now, experience is if the product is going to meet that expectation or maybe surpass the expectation or does not meet the expectation itself, goes on to define in the longer period of time whether this product would become a brand or not. So product and experiences are important in the ball game of brand building and also building an organization as well. So levels of products and services. Now understand, friends, one thing very clearly. It is being said that if you want to successfully build an organization or working on to build an organization, the core philosophy is that either your product or your services need to add value to the customer. That's of very prime importance, because they say to become valuable. They say if you want to derive value of the customer and if you want to create net value also to the organization, you need to be valuable. That means you need to give value to the customer. Now, value could be in terms of convenience, it could be in terms of satisfaction, it could be in terms of delight, it could be in terms of usage, it could be in terms of consumption, it could be anything. but end of the day, a customer should be satisfied or should find or make it worthwhile or valuable. If a customer is not going to find the product or services valuable, then he will not go for it for the second time. Maybe he will buy it for the first time, but definitely not the second time if the product is not giving value to the customer. So in this slide as well, if you see right in the center, it's written, it's core customer value. That means the product needs to give this core customer value. Now, around this core customer value, now you might say that this core customer value will be based on needs, based on wants and demands as well. Having said that, based on around this core customer value, we also have the actual product revolving around it. That means, what is the product going to give to meet this value? If you see the slide closely, you will find that it gives the brand name. 2, the quality of the product. 3, packaging. That means how it is packaged. These days, packaging has become more important than never before, isn't it? It's not only about what you offer, but how presentable it is also is important. They say that the best marketed product sells more often than the actual product. And it's a beautiful quote. In marketing, we always keep on saying, I repeat the quote, it says that the best marketed product is often sold more than the actual product. A good one. So that means in today's world, it's not sufficient that you only manufacture a good product. That's not only sufficient or a services. It has to be marketed also cleanly, finely, supremely as well. So, and that's where packaging comes in, because packaging is part of presenting the product. The packaging could be a physical packaging, yes. It could be packaging in terms of language packaging. For example, the sales is part of marketing, isn't it? Now, if a sales team speaks good language, now when I say language, is not only about the type of language of English, Hindi or any other language, but also about how well they speak also is important. So packaging is important. Next, design. So what kind of product designing is there? You look at Apple as well. Now all phones they have comes with a clean and great design. And what Steve Jobs used to say quite often is that we don't want customers to make changes. We change more faster than customer wants. So that means they are 2 steps ahead of what the customer is thinking as well. So before a customer could think, the next product is available. You see at Samsung as well. So when you see of Apple, Samsung, their phones are very neat, very clean, very neatly state-of-art designed technology. The features. Everybody likes features, isn't it? Once the demand or need is met of the customer, then definitely the customer wants more, isn't it? It's always the era of ye dil mange more kind of model, isn't it? So features is where it fits into the dil mange more kind of slot, wherein even if you go to buy a good handset or anything that you, it can be a plasma TV, or it could be a DVD, or it could be a washing machine, anything. A customer always has this habit. What else? And what else it can do? And so companies who are going to give these features, or we call as value added services, VAS, is what also are the companies who are kind of niche ahead in that segment, features. So in actual product, the product can offer in terms of brand name, quality level, packaging, design, features, correct? We move on. The second tier of, of value adding could be done in terms of augmented products. Now, augmented products include things like delivery and credit. Time is precious in current scenario, isn't it? The pace of life has kind of multiplied at least double in the last 40-50 years. So people want instant is the key, and hence you will find a lot of brand names as well, putting the actual word in their branding as well. The instant coffee, isn't it? So people want all in instant. So wherever instant comes in, delivery becomes important. That means how fast it could be delivered at the customer place is important. And not only instant, since customer wants more, they will definitely go for, okay, are there any advantages in terms of credit days? That means, can I buy the product today, avail its services, but pay later? Maybe in parts, maybe in EMIs. So what kind of credit it offers? So hence, when credit comes in, banking comes naturally into the picture, isn't it? Yes, lots of banks there comes into the picture where they tie up along with retail manufacturers. It could be automobile manufacturers where they kind of tag along with them and provide a synchronized model wherein the customer gets the benefit of the product instantly, and also facilities that you can avail in terms of credit facilities. It could be about 15 days, it could be a month, based on the product domain that the company is marketing in. So delivery and credit in augmented product, or the product support. Now, when I say product support, it's about, say for example, you have purchased a refrigerator, for example, recently. Now, for a refrigeration kind of industry, it's important that support services are given. Support services include things like installation, and installation fast to demonstration, how it has to be used. If you take for AC machines, you take for computer laptops, you take for all things where a platform could be given, where a support structure is given to the customer once the product is purchased. Now it could be an online help model as well, where people buy laptops or mobile handsets and they got stuck somewhere, maybe with the use of smartphones, or even we have smart washing machines as well. So if people are not literate enough to understand how it works, then maybe a toll-free service comes into the picture of product support about how to use the product. Then warranty. So along with the product comes naturally warranty. Suppose what if the product is not working efficiently as per design, or what if I have got a challenge in some of the functions which have stopped working, are also things that a warranty is there. Now, a difference need to be understood between warranty and guarantee. Warranty is about replacement, part replacement, where a guarantee is about the change of the product itself. So, a lot of design companies give warranties wherein a part replacement or a free service offer in terms of smooth functioning is offered as an augmented product. Or it could be an after-sales service. Now, when you think of after-sales service, products like automobile comes in very fast. So it's not only about just selling the product. A Maruti as a company has thrived and excelled not only on the design and cost of the model of the products that is offers, be it a Wagoner or a Desire or an Alto, but it is also the post-sale service, because the services it has offer is immense, because the distribution channel of post-sale service for an automobile industry is very crucial, because end of the day it's on wheels, it's on roads. So chances of a repair, chances of a dent, chances of a service, chance of an over-oiling come up more often and very fast as well. So that means that the companies need to be prepared with this model, and that's where Maruti has grown up thick and fast in the last 3-4 decades quite easily. So when we say first we have understood the definition of a product. We have understood that product has to gain attention, satisfy a customer, his needs and wants. We have also understood from this slide the levels of products and services. We have also understood that one, it should support the core customer value of meeting his demands or needs or wants. This could be done to the actual product, that could be through the brand, quality level, packaging, design of features, or augmented or add-on services that could be delivery and credit, product support, it could be warranty, or after-sales service. So with this in background, we move ahead. Now, products and services could be classified to have a better understanding of products or services. This could be classified into two parts. One, consumer products. Two, industrial products. The separate categorization is important because one, the customers are different. Two, the way it is marketed is different, definitely different. Since the audience, location is different, type is different, nature is different, and hence all marketing strategies also need to be aligned based on this as well. So we'll look into each of these one by one. So when we say consumer products, are those products and services for personal consumption. So you take any retail product, it could be medicines, it could be an atta, it could be a wafers, it could be toothpaste. All for personal consumption are consumer products, and classified by how customer buy them. How customer buy them means at what frequency. So we can still classify it as convenience products, 2, shopping products, 3, specialty products, or unsought products as well. So we look into this one by one. So 1, convenience products. So what are these convenience products? Convenience products are consumer products and services that the customer usually buys them frequently, very frequently, immediately, and with a minimum comparison and buying effort. So whenever we are going to go on to purchase the convenience product, we don't usually check into the comparative evaluation of prices of competitor products. We just go by habit. Whatever we have been purchasing throughout, we generally tend to buy that out in the repeat purchase as well. And as we move on ahead as well, we will also look into what factors influence these. But first, the examples of convenience products. The examples: newspapers, candy, fast food are classical examples of convenience products. Now, these convenience products, we kind of hardly are bothered about comparison of cost. We just go and ask candy, whatever candy you like. It could be a Melody, it could be a Claire's, it could be any fast food, it could be a Domino's. We are kind of used to. We don't really compare prices, really, to say it so. Second is shopping products. Now, shopping products are consumer products. Again, it is a consumer product or services that the customer compares carefully on suitability, quality, price, and style. The shopping products, definitely they are compared in terms of suitability as well. Now, examples could be furniture, cars, appliances. Now, these products, we don't go One, we don't never go every now and then. Two, whenever we go, we do a good pre-ground check in terms of what's available in the market, what are the trends available. We are kind of how it would be suitable for me when I purchase this product. So everybody does a background check. They compare cost as well. Cost not only brand to brand but also shop to shop as well. Who is giving better discounts? Who is giving better credit days offer? So these things we tend to compare in shopping products. So in consumer products, we have looked into one, convenience product, two, shopping products. Let's check the third one as well. The third one is specialty products. Now, what are the specialty products? Specialty products are consumer products and services with unique characteristics of brand identification for which a significant group of buyers is willing to make a special purchase effort. Now, specialty products, first it needs to be understood that it belongs to the category of niche. It's very much niche. So medical services, so for example, it could be a hospital who want to buy out for medical services. It could be a diagnostic tool. It could be an X-ray machine. It could be a machine for lithotripsy. So these are medical services which the decision of buying this specialty product is not a single decision, but it's based on a body. It could be a group of doctors. It could be a panel management team. Two, it could be designer clothes as well for a fashion show, for a production, a television production for that matter, designer clothes, or high-end electronic, maybe for hotels, maybe for airports, or maybe for railways. These are high-end electronic products that are important as far as specialty products are concerned, wherein we make a special effort to purchase them. And the unsought products are consumer products that the customer does not know about or knows about but does not normally think of buying. Now, customer might know about the product or sometimes might not know as well, but he doesn't normally go into think of this product of buying. So can you guess certain examples in this category? Okay, so guessing, So the examples in this category are insurance. Now insurance now as a concept has evolved very much in India. But otherwise it was just product to be purchased. It was never an intentional purchase. It could be funeral services. People never think about funeral products, isn't it? So funeral product, it could be blood donations. So these are all actually things which normally are unsought products. Sometimes people purchase with a bad taste. So these are important, essential items, but generally unsought products as well. So in consumer products, we have seen there are four categories. One, convenience products. We have seen also specialty products. We have also seen unsought products as well in the category of consumer products. Now we'll look into industrial products. Now industrial products we have always defined used for industrial purposes. Now industrial products are, let's first define what are industrial products. So industrial products are products purchased for further processing or for use in conducting a businesses. So industries could purchase the product. One, it might be, for example, I'll give an example. For pharmaceutical industry for that matter. For pharma industry, APIs or active pharmaceutical ingredient, APIs as they are more commonly called as. So people who are into bulk drug manufacturing, they purchase API from a third source. Now that means the third party prepares API and sells it to a formulation manufacturing company. So industrial products, and then these APIs further gets converted into the actual drug, which are then called as formulations at a later point of time, which a consumer is what we available we see as in the retail medical shop comes, they are called as formulated medicines. So these APIs or intermediaries can be further developed and prepared into a new product. Just like as we classified the consumer products, the industrial products could be classified by the purposes for which the product is purchased. It could be material and parts, it could be capital based on raw materials as well. So three products are materials and parts, capital and raw material. So we will look into the classification one by one. One, the capital items. The capital items are industrial products that aid in the buyer's production or operation. So all big machineries, or maybe in a thermal plant, steel plant, or anywhere where all big machineries are required, they're called as capital items. Two, material and parts. Material and parts include raw materials and manufactured materials, and parts usually sold directly to industrial users. Now the API of which I gave an example forms in the material and parts, where they go on to manufacture the product with that product itself. So it falls under the category of material and parts. The third, supplies and services. Now these include operating supplies, repair and maintenance items, or business services. For example, take an example of pest control. Take an example of AC maintenance. Now AC maintenance, which is very common for all industries these days, including office administration as well. Now AC maintenance is a service, it is a service, isn't it? Yes. And yet it falls in the industrial category because of the huge sizes and scales it operates on. So it forms under the category of supplies and services. So in the industrial production, we have seen capital items, material and parts, and supplies and services. Now, once we have a product at hand, the obvious next step becomes in terms of organization, persons, places, and ideas. Now, when we speak of organizational marketing, consists of activities undertaken to create, maintain, or change attitude and behavior of target customers towards an organization. The end of it, the entire purpose of marketing is to influence customer for a change in terms of changing their attitude towards their product. Now it could be either a change for people who are not buying it, one. Two, people who are already consuming the product in whatever way, it could be a product or a service. It could be how it could be augmented in such a way that the product becomes a brand, isn't it? So when we say toothpaste is a product, yes or no? Very much yes. But if you really go out to any grocery shop and ask what people ask when they call for toothpaste, have you heard that? Yes, you have guessed it correct. They ask, can you give a Colgate? Now Colgate might not be the actual thing that they want. What they are telling is, I want a toothpaste, but the only brand they know is Colgate. Take another example, Dettol. Now there are so many antiseptics around in the marketplace. It could be Savlon as well. But People speak Dettol because Dettol is symbolic of an antiseptic, lotion or a cream or a solution. There are so many examples of this kind wherein the objective is to differentiate a brand from product. That means the journey from a product to making a brand is what organizational success is. And this could only happen when it's marketed well. And when we say it's marketed well, that means you're influencing your customers through various marketing channels available. It could be print, it could be animation, it could be an online portal, it could be television, it could be cinema halls, it could be live shows. Any other ways wherein it could be through a sales force, wherein you are influencing attitude of people as well. This is about organizational marketing. Second, person marketing. Now, when we say person marketing, consists of activities undertaken to create, maintain, or change attitudes and behavior of target customer towards the particular people. When you say person marketing, it's about actually sales. It's about people representing. Now, you must have traveled in trains a lot. I mean, if you have traveled in trains, you will see some people coming in, getting into on board of be it local train or even trains that are on board for long distances. You'll find that certain people come and market the product. Now, certain people we can't really hear them as well, but certain people catch our attention. If it could be simple products like the air pillow. It could be as simple as things like any eatery, but the way they present it is important, and that's where personal marketing comes in, even for consumer marketing or for organizational marketing. For example, people sometimes just buy the product just for the sake of the person. That means if the person is strong enough who is representing the brand or the company, then for the customer, the person who has come to sell or market the brand becomes the company. And it's a big statement. That means when the brand is growing, building, nurturing and taking form, it is very important that the person who is representing the brand needs to be strong as well. Now when we say need to be strong, means there comes the process of recruitment, right recruitment. It also comes the point of right training. It also comes the point of right mentoring. It also comes the point of right nurturing. It also comes the point of right growth within the organization. So personal marketing plays a great impact as far as marketing the brand and also the company is concerned. Place marketing. Now, you will know that 50 years back, place was a big constraint. That means that for any international launch that was done, to reach in India, it used to take a decade, 50 years back, a decade or close to a decade. 10 years back, that span was compressed to around 3 years. 10 years back, 3 years. A year back, a survey was done. They say generally any international launch takes less than a year. Less than a year. Now, based on the product and services, definitely depends. But certain are instantly, certain times, people launch their edition of their brand width or brand length just across the globe simultaneously, or definitely in the coming year. So it has been observed that the time gap of launches on a global scale has come down to short period. So if that is the case, then place marketing is important. So place marketing consists of activities undertaken to create, maintain, or change attitudes and behavior of target customers toward a particular places, and that's important. Social marketing. Now, social marketing is the use of commercial marketing concepts and tools in programs designed to influence individual behaviors to improve their well-being and that of society. Social marketing could be about, first it has to be understood, social marketing has to do with society. That means the job might have to be done individually, but the benefit is social. Take an example. Say for example, planting a tree. Lot of companies, especially startups I could know of, has done a great work as far as marketing this concept of planting the trees are concerned. And one, they are building awareness of the ecosystem and environment. Two, they're also seeing that the brand is projected. This comes under CSR or corporate social responsibility, wherein it could be plantation of trees, it could be about cleanliness, it could be about drunk and drive. I mean, no drunk and no drive. So it could be about these aspects where a company takes the initiative where it markets a social concept which is beneficial at large. The job needs to be done individually, but they are projecting a social cause about it, which is higher than the actual benefit that it has offered. So it could be social marketing. So when we look at the flow chart or cascade, how the individual products and service decisions are made one by one. So one is start with product attributes. Once we have a product attributes defining what the value add it is going to give, it comes branding. So how the products need to be branded in terms of brand name, target audience. The packaging, what kind of packaging need to be done, labeling, and then the product support services needed pre-launch and post-launch of the product. Now understand, pre-launch is also important in terms of support services. Now you might ask, pre-launch support system? Yes, very much. Because when a company is going to launch a product, say globally or locally, they need to do a lot of paid work in terms of building up the atmosphere or aura of launching the product. So it could be building an awareness, it could be building, sending a message to hoardings, online portals. So a lot of pre-launch activities need to be done. So support systems are required both in pre-launch and post-launch as well. So we'll take one by one of these cascading decision making of marketing. One, the product attributes. Now product attributes are the benefits of the product or services. Now we call this in marketing language FAB, F-A-B. And now it is an abbreviated differentiation, F for features, A for advantages, B for benefits. Now when we say advantages, features are the add-on service. Advantages meeting the core value of a customer needs and wants. And B, what the benefits are going to come once it meets these advantages. So when we say of product attributes are what is the fab it is going to give to the customer, the feature, advantages and benefits. It could be based on the quality, the features and the style and design. When we say style and design, here also comes in terms of usage. Now, you take an example of handsets. Now, there was a time when mobile handsets were launched. It was the concept or the tagline, and which was also part of the fad as well, was bigger the better. So we had people using the big handsets, the Nokia ones, the bigger ones. Then as it evolved, a decade passed on, then the concept changes and the fad then became smaller, the better. So you have the very slimmest one. So we have the Panasonic one, we had Samsung at certain point of time when smaller was better. And now with the advent of smartphones built in as a technological design of the mobile handset, it again turned on its head, wherein we now found again bigger the better. Yes or no? So you see, as an organizational company, we need to understand that as per changes that are happening in the system as well, the company also need to put forth the changes into their products as well. So it's all about silent design as well. The second, the product quality. Now, product quality includes level and consistency. Now understand, now let's take some very simple example like Goli Vada Pav, a local brand to start off with, or natural ice cream, or very local brands. But if you are in the food industry for that matter, or MACD, any food industry is important. One of the key thumb rules, if you really want to excel, somebody who is into food industry, is consistency is important. That means if a customer is going for repeat purchase or going pretty often, the taste of the product needs to be same, spot on. Very important, because if it is not consistent enough, it loses the touch with the customer as well. You take anything for that matter, especially for the food industry, all the more. But if you say textiles, if you say raiment for that matter, so you need to give consistent product each and every time, consistently over a period of time. So consistency, endurance is important. Cadbury's, now big player, big brand, built in over a period of time with consistency. Always same taste, rest assured you will get it the same product anywhere, any place across the globe. Yes or no? So consistency. So when you say of quality level, it is the level of quality that supports the product's positioning is important. Second, conformance quality is the quality of product's freedom from defects and consistency in delivering a target level of performance. So conformance is important. So that means not only the taste, but it has to be in the guidelines according to the country norms. We all know what happened to Maggie, isn't it? So when if you're not adhering to norms in terms of safety levels of lead in preparation of the product, then you know what happened. Into the share pricing of Maggie went down by close to 1,000 points in a single day, from morning to evening, in just a question of 5 hours. So conformance is important in quality, and same thing happened also to Cadbury maybe 5-7 years back as well. So conformance to quality as well, and it can happen to any brand. So conformance to quality is important. 2, product features. Now, when we say product features are the competitive tools for differentiating a product for competitors' product. Now, every product, if you see there are 5 players, every player is going to satisfy the customer's needs and wants. Correct? Yeah. But as an organization, what kind of added features you are giving becomes very important. It could be very small things as well, but it carries a weight in the customer's value, or TOMA, as we call it in marketing. TOMA is another abbreviated word. TOMA stands for TOMA. It stands for top of the mind awareness. I repeat, TOMA, top of the mind awareness. So if you are giving a product features, customer gets a buy-in very fast and get registered in the trauma very fast. So when that happens, the customer next time when he goes to purchase a product, he immediately comes out from the trauma because there's a value addition that has happened every time. Examples: if you're calling Just Dial services a second time or a third time over, then the chance of you called by your first name is there. That means if you're calling a Just Dial to ask for any services, they will first do it. Hello Dinesh sir, how are you? How can I help you? Now there's a personal touch about it. They have already taken the database and used the database in connecting with the audience. Now these are all value-added services. Now this is not a feature, this is a value-added service. Features also include with the product itself. Features could be in, say for example, in talking of handsets, it could be a mobile locator. It could be about the insurance add-on with the handset. It could be also the lock mode of the handset, where if it's stolen or it is damaged, the phone cannot be used by somebody else if you have the system of locking the phone, and thereby ensuring that theft is minimized. So it's about product features. Product features are assesses based on the value to the customer versus to the cost to the company. So at a similar cost or maybe a marginally more cost, you are multiplying the value that you are giving to a customer. And if you are multiplying the value of the product to a customer, then the TOMA or registration of the product to the customer level is immense. For example, take of banking industry. Now, certain banks all banks give housing loans, but certain banks give housing loan at a similar rate of interest which other competitors give, but certain banks give a rider attached on with a very minuscule addition of the EMI. They give an additional insurance cover to the end customer. So the casualty or any unfortunate or unforeseen circumstances where he or she could not pass on the loan amount due to maybe an accident coverage, it could be death, the loan is taken care of. Now, all insurance company definitely give this, but when a banking company gives it as an offer to the customer, that is a real feature, isn't it? Yes. Style. So when we speak of style describes the appearance of product. I mentioned right in the beginning, the looks are important. So style is about in today's world, it is important for everybody or most of them. How you are perceived by other people is important. That increases the value of individuals. So how does the product look is also important. How does the end product look? So that's the reason you go for automobile. People have crazy looks in terms of the design, the structure. You take for any German company, automobile company, they spend a lot on R&D for style as well, because the engine remains the same. The features by and large remain the same. Yeah, there are addition 5-10% there as well, but it's all about designing the structure. How does it look? How jazzy it becomes? How neat it is? How soothing it is to the eyes as well. So style. So with style, naturally the sub-element comes in design, where design contributes to the product's usefulness as well as it looks as well. So when we say brand, is the name, term, design, sign or a design or a combination of any of these put together that identifies the maker or seller of a product or services. So So if I ask you a question, what comes to your mind first when you hear the name Sony? Yeah, okay. If I guessed it right, the first word that comes when you hear the word Sony is quality. Yes or no? Yeah. Now, Sony has so much spent in developing the association of quality with their company name Sony Corporation is that they have not only have rub-off effect on the company's name of the word quality, but now even if you hear of Japanese products, the quality gets tagged on. Yes or no? This might not be true in actual. Yes or no? But what it has done is, when we say Japanese product, so for example, Chinese product, we don't have Indians normally don't have a great opinion about it. So, it's Chinese product. So, but if it's a Japanese product, it has to be good. Who knows? So, what happens is, the branding of an organization has a rub-off effect on the nations as well. That's how brand goes on. So, a nation becomes a brand then for quality. Brand equity. Now, when we say brand equity, is the differential effect that the brand name has on customer responses. Very important point to mention. When we say of brand equity, equity means equal to, what it can equate to, is the differential effect. What kind of difference the brand is going to impact on the response of the customer to the product or its marketing. So if you build a brand over a period of time, sustain it, endure it, it definitely has a payoff time as well. That means it starts equaling or equating you in terms of net worth or money or revenue as well over a period of time based on the life cycle of the product. Packaging. Now, what does packaging involve? Packaging involves designing and producing the container or wrapper for a product. Now, mention the word wrapping also is important. You take chocolates. Say, for example, Melody is a parley product. Now, conventional wrappers are always the two-sided for candies, isn't it? But Melody was among the first few brands who designed their wrapping differently. If you have eaten Melody, you will figure it out. That it has one that's sealed off and the other is just a chocolate pack. That's where the chocolate packaging came in, even for gift wrapping. So wrapping is important. How it is different? So earlier when packaging came about, it was called as, okay, can we have this Melody-like pack? And now, more colloquially it is called as chocolate packing. But Melody was one of the first few brands who kind of designed the wrapping as well differently. Parley as such stands for 80-year-old company, and so kind of worked a lot in packaging as well. So wrapping. Labels. Now labels identify the product or brand, describe attributes and provide promotion. People identify cars just by labels. For example, Audi is very much clear, or Mercedes-Benz. Just the label itself says, this is the brand, isn't it? Labels goes on to define things. Or say, for example, product support and services augment actual products as well. So we have not only the design style packaging as well, we'll look into how the product support services, each of which that we discussed, also impacts the products and services as well. One, the product line. The product line is a group of products that are closely related because they function in a similar manner, are sold to the same customer group, are marketed through the same type of outlets, or fall with the same price ranges. For example, Take an example of retail and take an example of 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 toothpaste. Now, Colgate has a huge range of products in the toothpaste itself. So they have a great product line. So it could be Colgate Salt, it could be Colgate Max Fresh, it could be Colgate Red. So huge product line it has. So product line also goes on to define how it has to be marketed as well, in how it adds value to the customer as well. The line length, not only the product line, but the length of it is the number of items in the product line. So in the category of toothpaste, the length is huge. So we have a salted one, we have a mint one, we have a red one, we have a normal Colgate. The length is huge. It could be line stretching, how much stretch it could be done. It could be line filling. So when we say line filling, it's also about how much smaller variants you have. It could be a 50 mg, 100 mg, 200 mg, 250 mg pack. It could be in a powdered form as well, the line filling. So when we look at the length and breadth of the product mix, it also gives a huge giant appeal and range to the customer. So when we say range to the customer, as we mentioned also, today's customer are the dil mange more kind of category, isn't it? Or the cow kind of category, where people want choices. There was a time when people were given less choices and hence no choices. But today, people want choice. They want more. They want different things to try. So if a marketing company understands this, they give more choices in the same brand line stretching itself. So now, in this product and service decisions, we will look into how the product mix we will sort it out in terms of decisions that need to be taken. Now, when we say product mix, but we have understood product line length and the breadth. Now, what is the product mix? Now, product mix consists of all the products and items that a particular seller offers for a sale. Now, everything that the organization has up for the customer is a product mix. It could be the width, that means the entire range. If it's a wafer manufacturing, for example, let's take Parle. Parle has biscuits, it has confectioneries, the entire range of it, the width of it. It could be the length. In biscuit itself, it has Monaco, it has Parle G, it has Magic. So the length of it, the depth of it. Depth of it means the smaller range. It is small pack, big pack as well. It could be consistency as well. The taste need to be consistent. It needs to be consistent also in terms of the safety guidelines to be met as per regulations of the FDA if it is for a food industry. So when we say branding strategies that we discussed in the beginning, that what if we know that if this is the product mix that the organization has, what kind of strategies the company needs to deploy so that it is going to build strong brands. The objective obviously is building strong brands. Why strong brands? Because if you build strong brands, the company will have a more matured phase. When we discussed earlier, when we were discussing BCG matrix, if you'll recollect, that the more brands it has in the two categories, one, the matured market, two, the star performing market, it's better because these are the revenue generating machine and the possible revenue generating machine for the organization, which when we mentioned in the BCG matrix about cash cows, if you recollect, the cash cows are brands. Any product will never become a cash cow or quadrant 1 in that BCG matrix unless it's a brand. And yes, it is matured, but only brands will sustain in their maturity part of the cycle. Otherwise, they will die off. They will have a dog's death according to BCG matrix. So the brand represents the consumer's perceptions and feelings about the product and its performance. Very important statement. I repeat, brand represents the consumer's perceptions and feelings about a product and performance. Now understand, brands are perceived value. That's where the difference comes of cost and price. Very important marketing concept to be understood. What is the difference between a cost and a price? So cost, according to financial definition or according to financial standards, are the actual cost required to build, manufacture or produce the product. That is cost. Price is what the manufacturer sets as a price to sell into the marketplace. Now, there is no standard equation between a cost and a price. There is no standard equation. But if suppose your product has become a brand, you will find that the difference between the cost and price will go up. That means the pricing of a brand will be higher pitched. Now, you and me know very clearly that if a pricing is much above the cost of the product, correct, then this is what the profit is for the organization, this difference. And the entire journey of building the brand is to increase this difference of pricing. That means pricing, cost is actual cost to the company. Pricing is the perceived value, perceived, not the actual. Perceived value that the customer thinks about when he thinks about the product. So if it is high, it becomes a price, it becomes a brand. So you can, companies always, even with a premium pricing, they can sell it. That's because they have got a good perceived value about the product. Say for example, take an example, or take an Audi, take a Mercedes, take a BMW. Finally, it's an automobile. They have four wheels. They have the same engine, maybe a better crafted engine by design, the looks. But how do you substantiate a 50 lakh car, same engine capacity, the counterpart is selling at 5-6 lakh, 50 lakh, 5-6 lakh. Just for design, just for style? Not really. Not only this. This also, yes. That means that the company has taken efforts to build a perceived value of their product at the perceiver's mind. And that's what branding is all about. And that can come through sustained marketing and building strategies for taking this price ahead about the cost. So it is a company's promise to deliver a specific set of features, benefits, services and experiences consistently to the buyer. Now, I would like to repeat this, that when I say perceived value is what a customer thinks about it. Now, when a customer is thinking about perceived value, it has to derive that value as well. So, the company needs to give a quality product, a product that is sustainable, that is consistent, that is stylish, that has a good packaging, that could be a vapor, that could be a flamboyant color, that could be the wheel size, it could be any of these. So it's a company's promise about delivering this. And if a company delivers this consistently over a longer period of time, that's where Sony happens, a Xerox happens, an Apple happens, a Samsung happens, a Tata's happens, a Reliance happens, isn't it? Yes. So when we say a brand positioning, so when we say brand positioning, in it comes attributes, benefits, beliefs and values. that is taken ahead in terms of brand name selection. What kind of name to be selected? It could be selection procedure, it could be brand sponsorship, it could be manufacturer's brand, it could be a private brand, it could be licensing, it could be co-branding as well. And then it goes to the next step of brand development, where once the product is launched, doing well, the break even is achieved, then it goes into line extension, brand extension, it could be multi-branding or new brands as well. Based on how the market progresses, based on how the company has evolved, how company is adaptable to changing circumstances as well. So now we'll look into how we have a product mix, isn't it? Now in this product mix, how are we, this part of strategizing the brand, how are we going to position the brand? Now this brand strategy decisions include the parameters based on which we'll make the decisions are product attributes, product benefits, product beliefs and values. Now these beliefs and values are from the customer centric perspective. That means what the customer holds the belief and value about that product. That's what product beliefs and values over here means. So the desirable qualities, when we say of brand name selection goes, the brand name itself should suggest benefits and quality, isn't it? Now a very important, sometimes the taglines are kept or the branding itself is kept in such a way that it showcases the product itself. There are quite a few examples or examples that add along. Take for example, Amul. Amul obviously stands for Anand Milk Union Limited. The tagline that they always is focused on, which is part of the brand building strategy, is the taste of India. So yes, when we come taste, yes, it's an edible product, it's an eatery product, it could be a range of products. So it's already defined, the taste of India, isn't it? Yeah. So the tagline or the brand itself should signify what it is all about. Take an example of Xerox. Now, Xerox has so much done well in the business of photocopying that nobody these days not only speak of photocopying machines or photocopying or the process of photocopying, they just say there are Xerox shops. Now, Xerox is a company name. We all know that, isn't it? What we are doing, the process is photocopying. But if you see people have boards along with their in the shop Xerox. Now Xerox is a company name. It's not, so ideally you should write photocopying. That's the right word. So the brand name itself should suggest what the product is all about. It's easy to pronounce, recognize, and remember. So it should not be too difficult to name. Say for example, Snapdeal. So the name itself suggests snap or get the deal. Snap fast. So snap it very fast. So easy to pronounce, recognize, and remember. It should be distinctive in terms of uniqueness that people normally don't think of in a normal conventional way. It could be extendable. When we say extendable, the branding could be used in other areas as well. Translatable to the global economy. So you should not only think in terms of local business as well, but how this could be extended to the global platform as well. So the visionary thinking of getting to an MNC stage or transnational stage should always be there. Capable of registration and legal protection as well. So copyright need to be applied where patent should be applied, intellectual property rights should be applied where the copy could, it should, the product or design or style could not be copied as well. Now it could be applied to right from basmati rice to turmeric to any of those where the brand or genre or style or design or concept could not be copied as well. So when we speak of brand sponsorship, it's about the manufacturer's brand, private brand or licensed brand. So based on sponsorship of these, it could belong to each of these categories, or it could be co-branding done as well. So for example, if you see travel and tourism industry, if you see travel and tourism per se, they are co-branded together. For example, Make My Trip gets associated with hotel industry. Make My Trip gets associated with travel industry. Make My Trip gets associated with local travel tab associations as well. So it could be about co-branding and putting together tourism as an industry goes along this way. So in the next step is the brand development strategy. So once we in the journey to develop a brand, the stage comes of how to take a brand to a next level altogether. So when we are thinking to kind of upgrade it to a new level, then this is a very important quadrant that a lot of marketing people use as a tool of the direction in which they flow through. Now on x-axis is the product category, and y-axis it's the brand name. So if we have two variables, we have four possible quadrants to assign this, or four possible combinations to allocate this. So one, it is when we have a new brand name in the existing product category. If you see the bottom left quadrant, that's where multi-branding will come in. Or if you see the second one, the top left one, where you have an existing brand name and you also have an existing, it falls into the category of existing product category, it will be a line extension, isn't it? Like for Colgate Blue or Colgate Small Pack or Mini Pack, it will be line extension. Take to the bottom right quadrant. If it's a new brand name and a new product category, definitely it's a new brand. Top right quadrant. If it's a new product category with a new brand name, we definitely have a brand extension as well. So basically, if you want to build a brand, we have these four doorways through which we can get along. One, based on the existing brand name, whether it's new or existing. Two, the product category, existing or new. With these two parameters, we have four possible routes to move ahead as well. Now, type of services and industry. Now, these are the places that the product goes to, the augmented place. One, the government, that means in terms of policies, in terms of state rules, in terms of transportation, excise tax as well, cess as well, toll as well. Private not-for-profit organizations, so it could be for NGOs or non-NGOs as well. It could be business services as well. So types of industry required. So now the nature of characteristic, based on the nature or characteristic of the service, could be bifurcated. The brand one, the services could be variability. Now when we say variability, one, the quality of services depends on who provides them and when, where and how is important. The variability part of it. The quality of service upon who is providing, when is providing, where is providing. Variability. Two, intangibility. That means services that cannot be seen, tasted, felt, heard or smelled before purchase. A lot of online services, it could be just like the example that we dealt with, just dial. Nothing could be through the five senses, isn't it? So it could be intangible. It could be inseparability. That means services that cannot be separated from the provider as well. Or perishability. That means services that cannot be stored for later sale or use. Say all food items or edible items comes under this category, wherein they are fragile or perishable. So whether it's perishable or not goes on to define this. So in addition to traditional marketing strategies, service firms often require additional strategies as well. It could be service profit chain, it could be for internal marketing or also interactive marketing as well. When with so many of global population going online, so interactive marketing becomes very easy and also cost effective method to market the product. So when we speak of service forms, if you see this flow chart, it's a good cascade flow chart. If you see the service profit chain cascade, number one, we have the internal service quality. Two, satisfied and productive service employees. Three, greater service value. Four, satisfied and loyal customers. 5, healthy service and profits and growth. That's where the chain revolves on as far as service profit chain is concerned. So service profit chain links service profit firm profits with employee and also customer satisfaction as well. So it could be also evaluating parameter for internal service quality and also satisfied and productive service employees as well, where a greater service value could be offered and a satisfied and loyal customer. This is what you get if you get this kind of marketing strategy for a service firm, wherein the healthy service profits and growth are seen as well. When we say of internal marketing, now marketers have understood this very fast, that it's not only about externally marketing to the external customers but also for the internal employees. So for example, an insurance company. For an insurance company, it's not only about the external market is available, which is immense and manifold, but they always have an internal employees at disposal to market. So internal marketing means a service firm must orient and motivate customers, contact employees, and support service people to work as a team to provide customer satisfaction. So it's important to, when you're building in a good marketing strategy, you need to build your internal team well. That means recruitment, right recruitment. That means a right person doing the right job. Very important before we take off. Plus training them, grooming them as well. So internal marketing must precede external marketing. Very important to understand. Interactive marketing, when we say, means service quality depends heavily on the quality of the buyer-seller interaction during service encounter. It's about how do you differentiate the service as well, the service quality, the service productivity as well. And when we say of managing the service differentiation, it creates a competitive advantage from the offer, delivery, and image of the service. The offer can include distinctive features. It could be delivery, can include more able and reliable customer contact people, environment, or process. For example, when we speak of delivery, take an example of Blue Dart. Now, Blue Dart has been a very symbol of in the couriering industry. Take DTDC. Now, these are brands. They know that their entire gamut of marketing strategy is highly dependent on delivery. So, the more powerful they make about delivering the goods, not only about time, but also about the product should reach at the committed time, in the correct shape and size. That means the product should be intact. If it's a fragile item, it's seen that confidentiality is ensured. That means the product is delivered to the right person. and received by the right person. So that means a process is inbuilt into the mechanism that the person has to show his identity card before receiving the goods. So it's about delivering as well. Image can include symbols and branding as well. So when we say managing service quality provides a competitive advantage by delivering consistently higher quality than its competitors. Very important to understand. And also, service quality always varies depending on interaction between employees and customers. And managing this service productivity refers to the cost side of marketing services for service firms. So there's a cost involved as well. And when I say cost, employee recruitment, hiring and training strategies become crucial and important. That means right person doing the right thing, training them and equipping them so that they are identifying which markets to enter, what are the product attributes, the fab that we discussed, what kind of packaging need to be given, what kind of other add-on functions, be it government agencies, policies need to be augmented so that it is going to meet the core value of it. The service quantity and quality strategies as well need to be taken up as we are designing it as well. So in this chapter, in this session, in the first half, we have tried to understand the product, services and brands in building customer value. We will take our discussion ahead with the second part of the module that's about consumer markets and consumer buyer behaviors. Okay, so when we say consumer markets and consumer buyer behavior, important to understand in the entire part of marketing, we have in the first half of our session tried to understand about the internal thing. That means what is the product is all about, what strategies need to be involved. We need to understand, pre-plan it. In this part, we will look the other side of it. That means once we are ready with the product, in the shaping and making of a brand, what needs to be looked outside in terms of market and what are the behaviors of the customer is seen before purchase of product. And this is a very interesting area that needs to be looked up. So we look into the model of consumer behavior. We look into characteristic affecting consumer behavior. We look into types of buying decision behaviors. We look into the buyer's decision process. That means how does a buyer goes on to make a decision of buying, the cascade or process of it. We'll also look into the buyer's decision process for new products as well. So we'll go one by one. So consumer buyer behavior refers to buying behavior of final consumers, individuals and household who buy goods and services for personal consumption. And consumer market refers to all the personal consumption of final customers. So when we are understanding the model of the consumer behavior, we look into two parts. One, the consumer buyer behavior, and two, the consumer market. The model of the consumer behavior. Now, when we want to understand the model of the consumer behavior, there are three areas. One, environment. Two, buyer's black box. Now, just like in aeroplanes, we have this black box. So we have also a black box of a consumer as well. So what is the black box of consumer? And based on these two factors, the response which the buyer is going to demonstrate or depict. One, the environment. Now, when we say the environment, it is the marketing stimuli. The marketing stimuli are the P's of marketing: product, price, place, promotion, packaging. These are the stimuli. and the other elements that the environment offers: economic, technological, social, and cultural. Now, all this influence the buyer's black box. That means the buyer's characteristics or buyer's decision process, wherein the response that we get is the buyer's buying attitude and preferences, where a purchase behavior, what the buyer buys, when, where, and how much. Brand and company relationship behavior also is what we get in buyer's responses. So we'll go and look into and exploit one by one in detail. So factors influencing customer behavior. What are the factors that influence customer behavior? One, culture. Culture could be culture, it could be subculture, it could be social culture. Now, culture based on nationality, based on the kind of usage the culture has. It could be a social class as well. The second aspect, social, it could be a reference group, it could be family, roles and status. Now, when we say family, certain products we use just by the family. For example, people have been using refrigerator for 2-3 generations together. For example, Whirlpool, or it could be Videocon. People just run through families. TVs also, televisions also go by that way, where people don't change much in preferences. So social factors influence the purchasing needs. Personal. Now when we say personal, elements that affect buying behavior, and that's also part of the black box of a buyer, is age and life. Age and life cycle of stage. That means at every different stages, the preferences changes of the buyer. The occupation that the person is in, economic situation in terms of financial needs and wants, lifestyle that the person leads, personality and self-concepts. It could be psychological as well. Apart from these socio-cultural and personal type, it could be purely psychological, which is very different for every individual. It could be their motivation, their perception, the learning, the beliefs and attitudes goes on to define the buyer. So we'll take and understand one by one. Culture. Now, culture is the learned values, perceptions, wants and behaviors from family and other important institutions as well, where people derive cultural sentiments. We call marketing language, these are cultural sentiments about it. Now, culture could be further subdivided into subcultures. Need not necessarily has to be statewide, but could be statewide as well. Now, subcultures are a group of people within a culture where shared value systems based on common life experiences and situations. It could be Bengalis, it could be Gujaratis, Punjabis, Malayalis. So when you divide the subcultures as well, we have a typical kind of buying behavior pattern cropping up and popping up, and it also changes as decade moves on as well, and based on current times as well. Social classes. Now, social classes are societies relatively permanent and ordered divisions whose members share similar values, interests, and behavior. These are social classes measured by a combination of occupation, income, education, wealth, and other variables as well. So these are social classes. Now, groups that we mentioned, it could be membership groups. Now, groups with direct influence and to which the person belongs. Now, group could be a club group, it could be a sports group. For example, people in a sports group or a club who have preferences to buy Nike shoes, invariably they look into other people and buy that same shoes, Nike for example. So it could be a membership group or it could be an aspirational group an individual wishes to belong to, as they want to aspire to be in that group. or a reference group. That means groups that form a comparison of reference in forming attitudes or behavior, where people want to say, I want to be like them, as like for example, film stars. That's the reason you find film stars being hired for marketing their cosmetics. For example, Lux or peers, where people or creams, where people are hired to market as a reference group. Or it could be the groups in social networks, word of mouth influence and buzz marketing. It could be the still today we have online portals, so many things are tools are used. But still one of the very significant impacting kind of marketing delivery is word of mouth. Word of mouth is still a very powerful tool. If you have really built on a brand in somebody's perceptions, and if he's going to pass on that to some other individual, it's going to be very hard hit. Like opinion leaders are people within a reference group who exert social influence on others. And that's the reason you find many people being hired on to do this job as well. Also called influencers or leading adopters. So it could be a famous personality, it could be politicians, it could be sports stars, it could be a revolutionaries, it could be somebody who has taken stride, also makes a difference in terms of social networks. It could be that marketers identify them to use as brand ambassadors. So you find film stars becoming brand ambassadors to various groups, like for example Chitrangna, a film star, becoming a brand ambassador for Titan Eye Care or Eye Plus brands of it. So there are lots of brand ambassadors to each of these categories. Or the second is a social and group networks. Now it could be online social networks or online communities where people socialize or exchange information and opinions as well. These include blogs, it could include social network sites, it includes virtual worlds as well. So these are other online tools available. These days if you want to market, you just create a blog and put it on the website. These are real good way, fast, economical as well ways that you can market very fast. Social factors. Social factors, family is the most important consumer buying organization in society. It's fast, it's deep rooted because it comes through childhood days. So family, the groups, families and clubs and organizations that a person belongs to defines his or her social role and status as well. Personal factors, it could be age and life cycle stages, it could be the royal band stages. Now the royal band stages are a real good example to look into. One, if you see the stages of it, youth, the young age, then younger than 18. Now younger than 18 are not the decision makers usually. For example, for toys. Now in toys, sometimes if it's a very small toy in the sense people used for the babies, the decision makers are not kids, they are adults. But if the toy is someone ranging between for a 5-year-old to 10-year-old, then decision makers become the child. And if you can convince the child based on whatever gimmicking, whatever marketing strategies you are using, then you can get an immediate recall value for it. Getting started is the age of 18 to 35. This is the age where flamboyant kind of things, deodorants, perfumes, flashy things, high-end gadgets, video games this is the age where the customer targets in. Builders are the 35 to 50 age category. You talk of insurance products, you talk of pension plans, you talk of bigger vehicles, of XUVs. Builders are the age slot that people look forward to. Accumulators, 50 to 60. So if you want to sell a pension plan, if you want to you are a real estate kind of market, this is also definitely one segment that you're looking. If you're looking for health cover as well, If you're looking for post-retirement plan benefits, accumulators are the slot. So based on the age slot, the products are then matched as well. Preservers over 60. So you talk of prevention, you talk of health measures, you talk of exercising. This is where the age slot will come from. Personal factors like occupation affects the goods and services brought by consumers. Definitely. The economic situation that include trends in personal income, saving, and interest rates as well. So all this is definitely taken care in terms of personal income, savings, and interest rate. So when we take of economic situation, it also boils down to what not only what kind of income is being generated, but how much is being saved as well. How much of money is being the saved money is put into interest as well. So these all also situations that drive consumer behavior through its black box. It could be about lifestyle as well. When we say lifestyle, is a person's pattern of living as expressed in his or her psychographics. That means what kind of lifestyle, what kind of vehicle is driving, what kind of gadget is using, what kind of attire is wearing, what kind of shoes is driving. Now these all psychographic could be measured by consumers' AIOs, that is activities, interests, and opinions, AIOs, to capture information about person's pattern of acting and interacting in environment. Now these AIOs becomes a database for many companies, and this could be gathered if we know KYC about it, and that's why KYC is becoming all the more relevant across industries. Earlier it was only for banking to start off with, but now it is really boiled down to many areas. The KYC could be gathered through data from phone calls, internet usage, to the travel plan, the itinerary that the person gets. So AIOs is gathered, and based on AIOs, the person's psychographic is captured. Region's psychographic is also captured as well. Personal factors also include personality and self-concept. Now, personality in this case refers to the unique psychological characteristic that leads to consistent and lasting responses to the customer's environment. Now, we need to understand that when we are looking into customer-centric approaches as well, we need to understand that all these factors do affect the consumer behavior. And when we say personal factors, include the personal factors, dominance, autonomy, defensiveness, adaptability, and aggressiveness do also goes on to make an impact on the consumer behavior as well. So we look into the psychological factors of the buyer. Psychological based on psychology, motivation, how much motivated he is, perception, what perception that a customer has about the product, learning, how open he is to new products, to new things that's happening around, beliefs and attitudes, what kind of beliefs. When we say beliefs and attitudes are about how much a buyer is adaptable for change, because the entire objective of marketing, if you have understood by now, is to change the person's attitudes and behaviors, because change starts with a belief change. Always understand the students that if you want to change the patterns of buying, it starts it's an inside out process. It's not an outside in process. So one, it has to be changed, felt internally changed, and then transmitted outside. So we'll look into one by one. Motivation. Now motive is a need that is sufficiently pressing to direct the person to seek satisfaction. The motive is that. Any motive that the person gets pleasure out of it. Now pleasure also could be avoiding pain as well. Now Insurance works on negative motivation. That means if this happens, you should not worry. If casualties happen, if death happens, we are there to support. So it's about avoiding pain as well. And also deriving pleasure. Deriving pleasure examples, the taste. It could be the driving comfort are all positive pleasures. Now motivation research refers to qualitative research designed to probe consumers' hidden and subconscious motivations as well. Now, whenever we need to identify our customer's motivation, it is done through maybe through filling up questionnaires. It's also done by a lot of research work done maybe in a pilot model cases or other category that is more applicable based on the product category that the company markets the product. Maslow's model, we have been knowing this for some time. So entire model of motivation can be understood if you understand Maslow's model. So first level, the grassroots, it's based on hierarchies. The bottom, definitely physiological needs. That means food, water, clothing. So hunger, thirst, safety needs, security, protection, social needs, that means sense of belonging and love. It could be esteem needs or self-esteem needs. It's about recognition, status. It's about the recognition of I doing it. And it's about the self-actualization needs of self-development and realization. Now, motivation could be understood through understanding this Maslow model. If you are able to plot psychographically where your customer belong or where your majority of your customer belong to, then it's easy to pitch in with the marketing strategy as well. It has been observed that people move from bottom up, from bottom to up. So first people go on to meet the basic physiological needs of food, water, shelter, then get into safety needs, then social needs, then esteem needs, and also self-actualization. This is also age related as well. Now, need not necessarily be in the same sequence, but generally these also evolve as we grow by numeric numbers of ages as well. Now, let's look at the other factor. First was the motivation, second perception. Now, perception is a process by which people select, organize, and interpret information to form a meaningful picture of the world from three perceptual processes. Now, perception people derive by three processes. One, selective retention. People only retain what they want to retain. Selective distortion or selective retention. I'll give an example. If you are fond of cars, for example, take an example. Let's take Innova. If you really are fond of Innova and you like Innova, and if you are going to a new place where you have not gone, you will invariably tend to pick up Innova very fast because they say it's get into the eyes. So if your basic drive is there, you will try to figure out that very fast. So that means you have selectively attended to your liking and has gone to the eyes as well. That means so for example, if you're not crazy about, say for example, motorbikes, and that's automatically been deleted in the eyes itself. You don't see the motorbikes, you can only see the Innova. So you are selectively attending to something and simultaneously you are deleting as well. And with selective attention, you retain it as well. So perception is followed by selective attention, we distort as well and retained as well. The psychological factor, selective attention is a tendency for people to screen out most of the information to which they are exposed. They screen out and figure out only. They say that our brain, human brain, at one particular time can process or seek in information 5 plus or minus 2 bits of information. 5 plus or minus 2 bits of information at a single point of time. And you know there are 5 sensory organs through which we input information. Those are eyes, ear, nose, touch, and skin, isn't it? So 5 sensory organs. So through these 5 sensory organs we input the information. And this inputting happens at one point of time only 5 plus or minus 2. So that means the other bits, and we are exposed to around 3 lakh bits of information, and we only take 10. That means less than 0.001%, isn't it? So we selectively kind of hold what we want to based on our intention. They say our attention goes where our intention is. I repeat, our attention goes where our intention is. So that means we naturally attend to those things where we are intended and aligned to. Selective distortion is the tendency for people to interpret information in a way that will support that they already believe. In the Innova example, there were other vehicles as well, but he attended only to Innova, so it distorted other information as well. Selective retention is a tendency to remember good points made about a brand they favor and forget good points about competing brands. So it's about retaining only what they want to hear. They say that you will only hear what you want to hear, and you will delete, that means you automatically delete what you don't want to hear as well. Psychological factors. Now when we say psychological factors, these are the factors that really drive us into making certain decisions. Now it could be about learning. Now learning is the change in an individual's behavior arising from experience and occurs through interplay of factors like drives, stimuli, cues, responses, and reinforcement. These are the processes that augment learning. Belief. Now belief is a descriptive thought that a person has about something based on knowledge, opinion, or faith. Based on this forms the attitude. Attitude here describes a person's relatively consistent evaluation, feelings, and tendency towards an object, an idea is. Now, we will look into various types of buying decision behaviors. It could be complex, it could be dissonance over his conflict, habitual patterns, and variety-seeking buying behavior. There are 4 buying decision behaviors. Either it is complex, conflicting, habitual, or variety-seeking. Now, these 4 buying behaviors could be sorted out based on 2 variants. One, if you see the chart closely, one, the bottom left, few differences between brands. If it is there, dissonance, that means reducing buying behavior. There's a conflict. If there is there's few differences between brands, difficult to buy. If you the top left, where there is a significant difference between brands and also there is high involvement. There is a significant differences between brands and yet there is high involvement. There is a complex process. Top right. If there is a significant difference between brands, low involvement, it's variety seeking. People want variety. They want to, for example, ice cream. People want to try out many ice creams. Low involvement. And if it's few difference between brands and low involvement, it's a habitual. For example, if you're going to buy salt, we don't really think much about it. So few difference between brands because salt always by taste remains the same, and low involvement. People don't have great interest and intent about it. So we go just by habit. So give me one Tata salt or whatever salt that you go for. So based on these, one, the difference between brands and the involvement, these 4 possibilities crop up. The buyer decision making process. 1, need recognition, whether the product is meeting customer needs. 2, information search. The buyer search for information, possible search. He evaluates the alternatives of that information. The purchase decision is made, and also what kind of post-purchase behavior is demonstrated based on which the cycle continues. So when we take one by one, need recognition. Need recognition occurs when the buyer recognizes the problem or need triggered by internal stimuli or an external stimuli. Now the sources of information for need recognition could be personal source, it could be family and friends, it could be commercial sources like advertising, internet, it could be public sources like mass media, consumer organization, it could be experiential sources, it could be handling, examining the products. Then the evaluation, based on the evaluates how the consumer information arrives to a brand choice. Then the purchase decision he makes, the act by the consumer to buy the most preferred brand. Now, the purchase decision can be affected by attitude of self and others, unexpected factors, and the last stage, the post-purchase decision, that is satisfaction of or dissatisfaction that the customer feels about the purchase. Suppose if it has met, the expectation is met by the customer, will be happy about it. If it is not, he is not going to buy the second time around. The relationship between the customer's expectations and the product perceived performance. That means one, what expectation the consumer has and what the product has given him with as again the perceived value. Larger the gap between the expectation and performance, greater the consumer dissatisfaction. If the expectation is here and the product has just met this expectation, the larger the gap, dissatisfaction is not there, chance of repeat purchase is not there, chances of building the brand is minimal. It will not be called as a brand, it will be just a product. So cognitive dissonance over here is conflict. So cognitive, there is a conflict in the discomfort caused by post-purchase conflict. Customer satisfaction, if you see, is the key to building profitable relationship with consumers, to keeping with organizational consumers and reaping the customer's lifetime value is important. Now when we speak of customer satisfaction, it's not only about that particular time, but it's also about building a customer for lifetime, and it's very important. It is seen any product category you go for. If you have sold a customer once, the chance of it that he coming and repeating the purchase for at least 6 times is there across industry. It could be more, it could be less as well, but generally it is evened out, generalized to 6 times. So if you see the new product, the buyer's decision process for new product, it's an adoption process is a mental process. We need to understand this first. It's a mental process wherein an individual goes through from first learning about an innovation to the final regular use. Stages in the process include 1. Awareness, 2. Interest, 3. Evaluation, trial, and adoption. So when we say adoption, that means when is it that the customer is going to adopt your product? It starts with awareness, interest, if you can generate to the customer, how does the customer evaluates it, he gives it a fair shot and adopts it. Now the influence of product characteristic on rate of adoption. What all factors influence so that this adoption sustains?